Okay, this contradicts more than 100 Sahih Hadiths.
What are these? What are you talking about?
Yeah, basically Bukhari, in many of his narrations, he authenticates that the Prophet had claimed he can help on that day. Right? This contradicts many verses of the Quran.
How did Zach and Rina, so they're both converts. How did you guys come to the message?
How did you come to what?
Yeah, how'd you guys come to convert? You said that you just got it like 6
Why
months
is
ago.
everyone putting me and Zach together? I don't even know this guy. Stop putting me and him together.
Weird, man. It's really weird.
No.
Why you guys are so offensive?
I only have questions, and
I got questions.
I'm only asking.
What?
You guys are always on together, right? So I'm just asking questions.
I was texting this guy a long time ago.
I'm just asking questions. How'd you guys get to the? How'd you guys convert? You haven't heard of anything of this? You have no clue what hadith is?
I was born Muslim. I never said that I'm a revert.
Okay. What about Zach?
I'm a revert.
I don't know.
Okay, so Zach
said he's a revert.
Yeah, how'd you come to the religion?
Bro, I told the story already last time. I converted 5 months ago, maybe.
From what? What'd you convert from?
Huh?
What'd you convert from?
I converted from pretty much atheism. Like my family
atheism.
My family.
So how'd you come into this? Like, what was it about Islam that just gravitated to you?
Like, obviously I was an atheist. Like, that's not a good life. It's like
bro, you're just answer the question. Like, look, if this was life changing for you that you adopted something, right? I would expect some sort of background to this.
Yeah, like I was raised in an atheistic background. Now, of course, like there's no purpose in your life if you're an atheist. There's a lot of questions.
Okay, like, so what drew you to? So I'm just curious. Like, what drew you to Islam?
I'm like in the process of explaining it. Like you're interrupting in the middle. I'm currently telling you what you're asking. You want me to say or no?
Go ahead. I'm waiting.
Okay. So I was big on philosophical arguments for existence, for how things have meaning or not. Like, what is the purpose of life? And of course, like if you only look at the Earth, the planet, and the universe in a materialistic sense, that can only lead you so far. Like science or philosophy can only give you so much answers because it works with the material universe that's given. And there's no answers beyond that, basically. So if you want to go beyond that and find answers,
Zach, you're just jabbering, right? I'm asking you what drew you to the religion. You're saying, okay, atheism is bad. I get it, right? But like, what was it about Islam? Like, how'd you come about to basically saying, okay, this makes sense to me?
What am I given like a 10-second time limit to just explain why I came to like realize the purpose of my existence?
So there's many theistic theories, right? Why did you pick Islam specifically over Christianity or Judaism or Buddhism or Hinduism?
I'm telling you, if you can like have the patience, listen for like 60 seconds. Like, can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so that's the main thing. Like to me, to get first as an atheist, I have to go to theism, right? Like I have to be convinced that God exists. And I slowly kind of like, firstly, I was like slowly converting to pantheism. And then like, I can see that I am not God. So I search for other religions and there are other claims made. For example, Christians say that a human being is God, but like, that's like observably false. Like you can observe a human being, he gets hurt, he has needs, etc. And you believe that this being, which is made of matter and energy, is clearly from the universe. It's not a supernatural entity. So necessarily a being like God must exist to be the creator of the universe, logically, right?
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like it's a process of elimination, man. You go to other religions, look at them, and they have weak ideologies. Like, for example, Christianity, calling a human a god. Or like Hinduism, which is, again, my ancestral religion, which pretty much like it's just like Christianity, except like times 1,000. When the Christian says one God, the Hindus say that there's a million gods. Or they say there's the stone, which is like it's just a stone. It's made of matter and energy, like everything else in the universe. They worship the stone. So what other ideology makes sense? Like, you know what I mean? Islam is the most concrete ideology in the sense. It's pure monotheism. It worships one creator because there can't
Okay, so
be
you're Sunni. Because
Is this
you
the
really
Sunni
didn't
part?
give any answer. You didn't say how you went from basically atheism to Sunni Islam.
Is this the Sunni ideology to believe that God created everything? I
No.
don't
I'm
understand.
just curious because it's like, look, you didn't give any answers. The fact that you're not addressing like how you got into this specific religion, you're just like, oh yeah, it just made sense. And no. But the fact that you know this terminology, but you've never come across Hadith. It just never crossed your path. You're looking at all these answers. You're trying to get a deep understanding. You just never once in your study of Islam ever came across who this Bukhari guy is. I've never heard of him before.
I didn't hear of anything. They never told me anything. They just taught me how to pray. The place I took Shahada, it was Malaysia. I don't speak Malay. Like they just helped me to follow the religion.
Welcome. So God is moving you through the stages, Mr. Zach. All right. You uncovered a huge conspiracy in Islam. All right. It's called the Hadith and Sunnah. Right. They get you with the Quran. They bring you into the religion, and then they say, "Oh, by the way, here's these 6 other books that were introduced after Muhammad died."
Huh?
All right. And we're demonstrating to you how they're clearly false and contradictory to Islam.
Well, you're talking about things that I don't have any idea about. Go slowly. Like what books? Like this is the one that
Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, Abu Dawood. They're named after the compilers, right? They're compilations of the hearsay, rumors, made up stories falsely attributed to God and His Messenger. All right.
Okay, you shouldn't falsely attribute anything to God and His Messenger.
Absolutely. That's why the people who did this, they're probably going to hell.
Yeah, if you attribute anything false to God and His Messenger, you definitely go to hell.
Right. Now, God also says if you believe in anything false regarding God and His Messenger, you also go to hell.
Like isn't there like an
Chapter 6,
excuse?
verse 112. Yeah, there's no excuse. Chapter 6, verse 112 and 113.
What about people who never heard about the message of Islam?
Again, I'm not talking about people who have not encountered Islam. We're saying
do you appreciate how sneaky this guy is? Like he wants to basically promote Sunni ideology with basically denouncing with the Hadith because he doesn't want to back that up.
What is wrong with you?
Like I'm just calling out the obvious.
What's obvious?
Look, someone doesn't come to basically from atheism all the way to Sunni Islam and say, okay, I'm going to analyze everything, but this core foundation of their doctrine, I'm going to be completely naive and ignorant of it.
Wait, sorry. So to be fair, he is a revert, right? And when you do revert someone, you don't give them, hadith initially, right? Because that shit's just too complicated. Let's just be real here, right? They're just gonna.
There's a difference. Yeah, but there's a difference when someone is playing such ignorance that they've never heard of this stuff. What is this hadith thing? Who's this Bukhari character? Right? I mean, that's just comical at this point, right? You don't go to basically that level to say, look, I'm going to convert my entire faith, my ideology, my philosophy in life, and oh yeah, this core foundation of modern day Islam, I'm just going to act like it doesn't exist.
Okay, brother, I want to say one thing, and I mean this the nicest way possible. Some people convert to Christianity because they see Jesus in a dream, okay? So this guy's thing actually does sound reasonable in my opinion, right?
Yeah, so I disagree. That's the thing. Is you're not going to be asking questions regarding like, oh yeah, it's Surah 2 verse 145. This one says specifically that you shouldn't cause basically destruction. Yet has never heard of any of this stuff.
Yes, so you could have done something. What? Yes?
It's just a joke.
Yeah, look. If you begin citing, guys, if you begin citing verses from the Quran, right? You study the religion enough to know the Quran in and out. Then you already studied things that are relating to the Quran, right? As in the lies they attributed to the Quran.
It's only the Quran. You can open it and read it. Are you dumb?
Yeah, buddy. Let's not do personal attacks here. The thing is, if you accept a religion, you would want to learn everything about that religion. Now you're a new convert.
I'm like what?
So,
what are you
let me ask you? Are you Quran alone, my friend? Do you only follow the Quran alone?
Let me ask you a simple question. Your name's Zach, right? So when you reverted, right, were you just given a copy of the Quran?
Don't ask me. Say that again.
So I have a simple question, right? When you reverted, were you just given a copy of the Quran, basically? That's it?
Yeah, I was given a copy of the Quran. I have multiple copies, actually.
That's the only thing you just basically read?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you don't even take part in the Sunnah Hadiths,
Bro, he's basically one step ahead of basically everyone.
No. Here, let's just make this clear. You do not partake in the Sunnah and Hadiths attributed to the Prophet, correct?
I don't even know what you're asking. Like, what am I supposed to take part
It's
in?
just kind of ridiculous commentary. I don't even know. I've never heard of
if you don't
before.
know, if you don't know, then obviously you do not partake in it, correct? You do not partake in the Sunnah and Hadith of the Prophet since you do not know anything about it, correct?
What is the Sunnah of the Prophet?
Look at you. No, you really are.
Like, dude, this is so bad.
If you don't know it, then how can you partake in it? Just say you don't partake in it if it's true.
It's like funny because look, the whole concept is he doesn't want to be basically pinned down.
So
go,
I noticed.
Wait,
No, Zach, stop talking, please. Okay. I noticed Hijab was talking with Pepper Lad, right? And you really, really wanted to introduce your topic. You really wanted to talk. It sounds like it looks bad. What you're doing looks bad because it sounds like you're trying to derail the conversation. And you wrote in the chat, I got questions. This guy got too long of a turn. We're talking to a new guy. Like, it's not your turn. Like,
dude, just jail him. Just jail him. Be done with it.
No,
it's like he's wasting. Bro. Stop. Look, we can tell you're trolling. Like,
can I just say another thing? There are Sunnis in the past. Hold on. There are people in the past who admitted to me in VC in public, right? That was the case. Their purpose is to come here and try to derail the conversation.
That's
get rid of Rina. Get rid of Zach.
So I don't know about Rina, to be fair.
No, get together, dude. They always come together.
She was talking with Naveed earlier in a real quiet conversation.
I mean, I don't buy it. I'd say ban both. I mean, jail both of them.
Brother Peter, jail Zach, and see if the other one leaves.
Ask questions.
Sure. Okay.
Together with Zach, I don't understand.
It's all good.
You're not with Zach, right? So if you're not with Zach and we jail him, you'll stick around, correct?
Yeah.
I joined earlier to ask Brother Navid some questions, and
praise God. I would love to help with you. I'd love to help.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just saying, we were talking with a new guy, Pepper Lad, and then there's no reason to try to hijack the conversation like that. I feel like you're trying to derail our efforts.
No, I had a question about the conversation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, why couldn't you wait? Why did you have to interrupt?
I mean,
what's his question? What's his question? Oh, he's jailed. Oh man, shucks.
Okay. It's all right. We can answer Zach's question in jail. All right. So let's continue the conversation.
Jail, Zach.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to Pepper Lad.
Pepper Lad, how you doing?
Doing okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Brother Peter. I'm gonna take it back to you.
I only got a few minutes, but it's just hey, sorry. I don't know if you're God willing you're not with them, but the guy just comes. It's like, look, dude, everyone has a baseline.
I grew up technically Sunni, but I don't know shit. Okay.
Yeah, language. Yeah. No. But this guy knows. That's the thing. He's playing ignorant, and we get this a lot. Someone comes because they don't want to be challenged on their ideology, so all they want to do is just try to poke holes, and they can just play dumb when we ask them anything about what it is they believe. Right? When someone's saying look, well, what if I'm eating rocks or something? It's like, okay, bro, you're not even reading the verse of the Quran at that point. You're just trolling, right? And it's not. This isn't the first time he's been doing it for at least the last 2 weeks, but he's been on for a while, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. No, but if you want my background, I'll be honest with you. I'm just technically I grew up Sunni, but my parents really didn't give a shit. We cared more about
language.
Oh, my bad.
Family friendly.
Yeah. Sorry. So we cared more about education, but I'm gonna be honest with you, religion is kind of interesting, right? So I thought maybe I should learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, when I learned about the Hadith system, it got me so confused, right? Because when I was little, I was just told read the Quran essentially, right? And that's it, right? Obviously, they'll sneak in the Hadith, I guess, right? I'm not gonna lie, I'm still exploring on it, right? I'm not gonna pick which one, right? But I definitely know it ain't Shia, right?
Yeah. Well, Shia is very blatant. I would say Shia is very blatant with their shirk, their idol worship. The Sunnis and stuff, it's a little more. How do you put it? You got to dig in a little more to understand the level of idol worship. The simple concept is the Prophet came. His whole mission was to deliver the Quran and to tell people to worship God alone. And as soon as he died, they basically started setting him up as a partner next to God. And the whole concept of shirk doesn't mean that you think that this other entity, is divine, or it shares the attributes of God. It's simply thinking that this other partner, right, that God has a partner, and this partner can harm or benefit you. And that's what they've done, unfortunately, to the prophet. They basically set the prophet up as a partner next to God, thinking that the prophet, by sending salawat and praying to him, that he can basically intercede on the day of resurrection, and change people's outcome in the hereafter.
He's only a man.
Exactly. But you go tell that to the Sunni masses, they'll crucify you.
I don't know, man. I'm not Jewish. Wait, what? No, but I don't know. Really, like when I was growing up, I was just told he was just a man. I mean, don't get me wrong. He was like a really good man.
They say that, but it's the actions, right? So it's one thing to say he's the man. Yeah, they'll say, yeah, he's a human being, of course. But as far as how they treat him, like, think of this. You walk into a masjid, most places, right? I'm assuming you're in the States, okay? You walk into the masjid, you're ready to do your salah. You stare up at the wall, right? You'll see two names, same size, same shape, same distance from the ground. You'll see God and his servant. And if you didn't know Arabic, you wouldn't know which one's which, right? Everything around their practices basically sets up the prophet as a partner next to God. The adhan, the call to prayer, right? In addition to mentioning God, it mentions the prophet. The shahada, in addition to mentioning God, it mentions the prophet, right? Everything that they do, they made basically the religion no longer a religion about God, but a religion about the prophet. What foot did he step into the bathroom? How did he defecate? How did he urinate? How did he trim his mustache and his beard? It's no longer like, to think that the prophet came to basically get rid of all this idol worship, and they just start idolizing him.
I mean, one could say that, but here's the thing, right? Wouldn't you want to learn from the best to begin with?
Yeah, absolutely. It says it in the Quran. It says it about Muhammad in Surah 33, and then also about Abraham in Surah 60. But their example is in the Quran, right? Any of these narrations that we have, you have to understand, these were basically fabricated or created hundreds of years after the death of the prophet. Okay. What's fascinating is, if you look, just study Islamic history, what you find is that the earliest caliphs, the earliest believers, actually had a deliberate campaign to reduce hadith. So, for instance, Abu Bakr, there's a narration where he had a compilation of hadith and he burned them all. And when asked why he did that, he says, look, despite the fact that I heard these, I might have misheard something and I'd be attributing a lie to God. Okay. Umar led an active campaign to basically, he barred people from leaving Medina, the Sahaba. He jailed people for spreading hadith. Abu Hurairah, who's the chief narrator of hadith, was forbidden from narrating hadith under the reign of Umar. Then you go to
Uthman. Huh? Wait, where is this?
This is in, if you read Tabari, Suyuti, the history of Islam. So this is what they basically has gone through their filters that they're willing to concede, right? There was zero effort by the Khalifas to catalog and preserve the hadith, right? There was numerous efforts to do this with the Quran, not one, right? It wasn't until you're talking about the Muwatta of Imam Malik, this was the first semi-official compilation of hadith, and that's 179 years after the death of the Prophet.
Still.
All right.
I still find it hard to believe 90% of people follow this. You know what I mean?
Well, look at Christianity, right? It's the same thing. It's always the case. God says in the Quran, in 12:103, it says the majority of people won't believe, and then from those in 12:106 is the majority of those who believe do not do so without committing idol worship. This is just the natural state of things, right?
I'm always told Allah is the most merciful at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. But we have to contemplate. We are a minuscule amount of creatures that had basically defied God's commandment. When you consider every ant, every squirrel, every insect, right? Every bird, every tree, every planet, every star submitted to God. Okay. Then you have the decillions of angels that never question God's absolute authority. Right. But we have this tiny, minuscule amount of human beings that are the most defiant of creatures, right? So it's like we make the mistake. We're looking at the prison population and saying, look, we're not that bad, but what we're failing to see is dude, every single, ant, every single blade of grass has submitted to God without any arrogance.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, dude, the religion, unfortunately, right, very shortly after the Prophet's death, went off the deep end. If you contemplate, like, the Umayyads, so this is after, so you have Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, okay? During the time of Ali, you have two basically back-to-back wars, right? So you have Ali fighting Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, with Talaha and Zubair, right? These were some of the closest companions. They're killing each other, thousands of people dead, right? Then when Ali wins that battle, they have the Battle of Safan, which is the Umayyads, Muawiyah from Damascus. And again, thousands of people dead. But then when Ali was assassinated, Muawiyah, who his father was literally the chief opponent against the Prophet, spent his whole life fighting the Prophet. His mom used to cut off the appendages of the believers after battle and wear it as necklaces. This is the individual who took over the religion. Like, we have to ask, like, how did that happen? How did the chief opposition of the Quraysh end up basically becoming the Khalifa of the Muslim Ummah?
Okay.
Yeah, most of the time, that's the thing, is like they either don't talk about this stuff, and if they do, they try to sugarcoat it, right? To the point where it's like, it's comical. So you got this guy, I'll give you an example. So there was numerous civil wars that took place after the death of the Prophet, okay? One of the most critical ones was after Muawiyah, he basically nominates his son to be the next Khalifa. This caused another series of wars. They straight up pillaged Medina. They destroyed the Kaaba twice, okay? There was a faction known as Ibn Zubair. He's basically one of the sons of the companions. And he was in opposition to Umayyad rule, okay? This dude has basically support in Mecca and Medina. At the time, you have Marwan and then his son, Abdul Malik. I believe he's like the fifth Umayyad Khalifa. He has a general. You can look this guy up. Ruthless. His name is Al-Hajjaj. Okay? This guy straight up goes, pillages and kills the companions of Medina. Okay? Then during the time of Hajj, he puts an embargo around Mecca, basically blocking them from being able to have any food or supplies, and starts launching catapults at the Kaaba as they're basically going through Hajj. Then finally, when they surrender, he goes and he slaughters basically Ibn Zubair, his followers and stuff like that, and crucifies their body.
He crucifies them?
Yeah.
I find that's kind of hard to believe. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean?
Well, crucifixion. So impalement and crucifixion is one and the same. The way that they actually describe it is they took his body, put it onto a stake, and put it out in display without the head, because that was sent to the Khalifa at the time. But you can look it up. This is in Sunni history books, right? The guy's ruthless, terrible person. And then we're supposed to believe that it's like, oh, from this is where, in essence, the Hadith corpus and stuff starts taking root. It's nuts.
I see.
Yeah, I mean, look it up. That's the thing. It's like once you go down that rabbit hole, you're like, what the hell is this? That you realize like the Hadith was not the center stone of the religion. This is a later fabrication. Like Sunni Islam was not the predominant form of Islam until about like 300 years after the death of the Prophet. Like, that's fascinating.
Okay. I don't know. I'm gonna be real with you. I need to know more history to to understand.
Yeah. But history aside, the thing
that most of the stuff you're talking about is just going over my head.
Yeah. No worries, brother. No worries. Yeah, it's one of those things that, look, I don't expect you to accept anything I'm saying, but it's once you know about that and you follow those breadcrumbs, you'll see it for yourself. But a bigger take is like, look, in the Quran, this is very cut and dry. God repeatedly tells us that the only book of law we are to uphold is God's revelation, right? The only revelation that the Prophet delivered for us to uphold is the Quran, right? The Hadith has no authority in the religion at all, right? There is no concept of like the Sunnah of the Prophet in the Quran. These are all like later stage, basically, innovations that crept inside the religion.
Okay.
I have a question then.
Okay.
So like, I was born Muslim, yes. Like, if you don't know, why does Hadith has to be rejected Like, there's a lot of things that's being mentioned on Hadith, right? Like, taking black seeds is like good for health and stuff. Then what about those things? You know?
Yeah, it doesn't say it's good for health. It says it cures all diseases.
Yeah.
Right. That's the
So
kind of
then-
nonsense that you see in the Hadith, because it's like, look, we still have plenty of diseases that black seed
But
is not.
it's like
resolved.
scientifically proven, isn't it? No,
It's what?
it's like scientifically proven today. Like,
No.
it's been
Okay, let me
viral,
ask you
I don't
this.
know.
Every disease, right? Does black seed cure cancer? You know, does black seed cure AIDS? Does black seed cure autoimmune disease? Right?
I don't know, man. My church leader says that if I believe in Jesus, anything's possible. Hey, you're laughing, right? Bro. But like, it might work, okay? It's like a placebo.
No. I mean, look, this is the concept is, if this was true, right, we would have eradicated disease from the world. Okay, this is the kind of stuff that's found in disease, but in my opinion, it's just mild.
I'm so sorry. I have a different theory for like cancer and stuff. Like, I studied acupuncture, so that's like a different topic. But no, but like, then what about like? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, let's, this stuff to me, it's like, look, you have the Hadith that says that black cumin cures all disease, right? They say if you eat 7 ajwa dates, you'll never be impacted by poison or magic. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
These things, there's no scientific backing for it, right? It says that Adam was created 90 cubits tall, right? Every human being has gotten progressively shorter, right? We can go look, dig up archaeological evidence, say, is there any merit to this? None of this holds up. That's fine. Like, to me, it's like, look, this is just silly. We can discard it. The more problematic stuff is they say, look, the prophet was bewitched, right? He didn't know if he had sex with his wives or not. They said that the prophet was suicidal on multiple accounts. He tried to commit suicide, right? They say that the prophet was basically a warmonger, right? That he permitted people to basically take sex slaves. What's that?
Prophet Muhammad? He was suicidal?
Yeah, this is in the Hadith. Yeah, it's in the Hadith. You can find in Bukhari, right? That basically after he got the revelation, it was put on pause, and he became suicidal, and he tried to throw himself off the mountain several times.
Oh.
Right. This is the challenge is once you open up, as Brother Pepperlad said, right? Pandora's box. I think it was you who mentioned that, right? This is the downside, because the second you say, okay, well, look, I'm going to accept this Hadith and reject this Hadith, it's like, no, it's basically you have to either accept the quote unquote Hadith sciences, and that comes with everything, all the garbage there, right? That he's promoting. So say, for instance, there's another narration. You'll see this numerous times where someone is saying there's a companion.
Peace, boys.
Yeah. So there's a companion, and he's writing next to the prophet, and the prophet, the companion's, he's younger. His father died in battle, and the prophet's asking him, "Oh, did you get married?" He says, "Yes." He says, "Oh, did you marry a child or basically a mature woman?" And he says, "A mature woman." He says, "Why not a child?" Right? And you can read this Hadith for yourself. It's horrendous. This is the kind of stuff that in essence propagates that. Aisha was 9 years old, right, when they consummated the marriage. It's disgusting. There's no merit for that, right? It's insulting to the prophet. You contemplate. You take Abu Dawood, okay? He's one of the predominant compilers of Hadith, okay? He wants to honor the prophet. So what does he make his first, section of his book about, right? The first chapter, about 100 Hadith. How the prophet supposedly urinated or defecated, right? I mean, dude, this is insulting. The prophet did not come here to basically tell people, hey, this is how you're supposed to urinate or defecate.
It's still, I'm not so sure, but I'll look into it.
Yeah, your call. I mean, look, it can't get more cut and dry than that. If you think that this is what the message of the prophet was, right, to go be a warmonger, to go be a pedophile, to basically take on sex slaves, to allow temporary marriage, prostitution during pilgrimage, you'll find that in the Hadith. Yeah, that's in the Hadith, the Muwatta.
that I heard that God prohibited stuff.
No. So later on, Umar prohibited. That's according to the Hadith.
Okay.
Right. So I mean, this is the garbage that it's a question. It's like, look, we got one book. There's no nonsense. It's perfect. It's moral. It's beautiful. Right. We know that definitively it came from the Prophet himself. That it's divinely inspired. Then you have this other book that's a collection of nonsense collected hundreds of years, right, with all kinds of just like gibberish and just insults to the religion, to the Prophet. The choice is obvious. Like, to me, it would be challenging if the Hadith was full of, like, let's say, just like beautiful, sayings and insights and knowledge. I would be, hard pressed. Okay, maybe there's something there. I mean, read Bukhari, read Muslim. You don't find any of that, right? The majority of it is just like it's utter nonsense.
Okay, I'm gonna look into it.
And there's an idea that what is your primary source? Like, let's say you still disagree with everything Brother Dude said, and you're like, no, I'm still gonna follow Hadith. But the question is, okay, is your primary source Quran or Hadith? And most Sunnis would say Quran. Then it's like, but you can't say that without being a hypocrite, because multiple times God in the Quran absolutely abrogates any and all secondary sources. So.
One second. Then what about fasting then?
What about it?
Like, how do you fast and all? Like, is it the same or like, I don't know?
Yeah, it's identical. It's in the Quran. What's
because
funny is that
I'm still like exploring. Like, I think I told Brother Naveed, like, I told him I was born Muslim, and then just recently, like, I've been, looking into Islam and stuff. I'm still exploring, like, I'm not so sure. So that's why I'm asking, like, what about fasting then?
Yeah, 183 through 185 or 87, if I'm not mistaken. But it has all the details we need for fasting. Like, you're not going to, the Hadith actually contradicts it. It'll tell you that, say, for instance, you have to spot the moon with your own eye, right? That's the reason that today there's still disputes regarding when fasting starts or when it ends. So you have like some region in, Pakistan doing it one day, Saudi Arabia doing it another day. This like, look, we can figure out what the first day of Ramadan is anywhere in the world at any time period, right? We don't need to wait until some dude, sees it and then tells people, okay, Ramadan started.
No, I'm like questioning like about the fasting, like, how do you fast, because
it's in the chat, the Quranic verses.
Hey Faisal, you good taking over? I gotta bounce myself.
I need to leave in like 15 minutes, but I can answer her questions for
cool. Yeah,
sure.
Awesome. Someone else will probably take on after that. God bless, brother.
So God bless you, bro. See you. Yeah, so as far as fasting goes, it's in the Quran. Everything's been already detailed by God. As far as when to fast, it's the month of Ramadan. As far as how long to fast, it's from dawn until night. Actually, specifically, from even God goes into the light, like the white line is apparent, and we can actually see that mathematically today. Anyways, like, we have computers. So if it's a rainy day, if it's a cloudy day, if you live in a city with skyscrapers or you live in a valley with mountains around you, we have computers. We know exactly when dawn and sunset is.
You can find the verses in the chat.
And then I heard someone say that you're only supposed to like say Surah Fatiha in the prayer. Like, we're not supposed to say any other surah. Like, why?
Well, Quranically speaking, if I were to use the Quran to explain this, it's there's a lot of mathematical composition when it comes to the Fatiha in it of itself. One big one is that your lips touch 19 times when you recite it. That's one that like blew me away. But the idea is mainly you can't mention anyone else other than God in your prayer, because God says in Surah Taha, establish contact prayer upon my remembrance. And there's proof in the Quran as well that if you mention any other name, even while reciting the Quran, you're mentioning and remembering their name. Chapter 19, God says, وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ Maryam, and remember in the book or mention in the book Maryam. So it's clear that's an utterance of a mentioning. So if you do that in the prayer, you're mentioning someone other than God. And God said to only mention God in the prayer. So that's why you just recite Fatiha. Fatiha is literally...
It goes beyond that.
Yeah, of course it goes beyond that, but I'm not trying to do information overload.
Yeah, you can't say, for example, you can't say "Kul" to God. Right? You can't tell God to say anything. You understand? Like these things, like are well known even in the Sunni and Shia sects, that the part what they consider like obligatory, it's only Fatiha. Then these are additions later on, historically speaking, that they added up. And there's even a verse that says, Allahu la ilaha illa ana. So it's saying, I am the Lord, there's no God but I. So if you say that in your prayer, that's pretty blasphemous. Exactly. Even there's a verse that says, Inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyayi wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen. So indeed, my prayer, my conduct, my religious conduct, my life, and my death for the Lord of the universe. That's basically
I dedicated to the Lord of the universe. But also, for example, knowing that the Fatiha, Surah Fatiha, is the only surah, when we supplicate God. There's no other surah when we talk directly to God. Right? That's why Fatiha, it's also called the key, because this opens up the communication with God, our communication with God, basically. So it makes sense in all aspects.